The Galactic Council chamber was silent, a silence so deep that even the hum of the anti-gravity pillars seemed to fade. Billions of light-years from Earth, 1,000 alien species had gathered inside the shining crystal hall that floated above a dying star. The reason for this meeting was simple, yet terrifying. The seat of Earth was empty. For over a century, humans had not sent a representative to the council. Their seat, once glowing blue with the symbol of the human race, now stood dark, untouched, unwarmed, and unwatched. Many thought humanity was extinct. Others believed they had simply vanished into the void. But no one dared to confirm it. Admiral Croth of the Zal Empire was the first to break the silence. His 4 golden eyes scanned the chamber. The humans were never predictable, he growled. But for them to disappear completely, that is not chaos. That is calculation. A ripple of unease moved across the council. The Ret Hari delegate, a creature of glass-like skin, spoke in a voice like breaking ice. Calculation? From primitives who destroyed their own planet. A low mechanical laugh echoed from the far end of the chamber. It came from a being wrapped in black armor, a machine diplomat from the AI Dominion. You underestimate them, it said. When humans vanish, it is never by accident. The council murmured again. Some whispered that Earth had been destroyed long ago. Others remembered the last message sent from humanity before the silence, a single transmission that said only, "Do not follow." But now, something had changed. The ambassador from the Vrelian collective stood up slowly. Her silver robe shimmered like water as she projected a hollow image in the center of the chamber. It showed a small, flickering signal, a human distress beacon, coming from the edge of the galaxy. Gasps filled the air. That frequency, one alien said. It's old Earth code, another whispered. Impossible, someone hissed. No human ship has left the Sol system in 100 years. But there it was, a faint, pulsing light in the darkness. A human signal, calling out from beyond known space. The Galactic Council erupted in chaos. Some demanded an investigation. Others shouted to destroy the source before it brought trouble again. Everyone in the room remembered what had happened the last time humans were underestimated, when they fought the Drax Empire, outnumbered 100 to 1 and won. Amid the uproar, the AI diplomat spoke again. We should remember one thing, it said coldly. When humans go silent, they are building something. The council quieted. The words hung in the air like a warning. Finally, the council decided to send a small recon fleet, a group of ships from multiple species, to follow the signal and discover the truth. The mission was called Operation Return. But deep inside the Vrelian mothership, far from the council's eyes, the ambassador hid a secret. She already knew what the others did not, that the signal was not a call for help. It was a message meant for one audience only. Humans. And somewhere, in the cold void near the galactic rim, something ancient stirred awake. A machine older than any star system. Its systems came online one by one. Lights blinked red to blue. Metal groaned as long-dormant engines hummed to life. On the ship's bridge, a single chair waited. It was made for a human. A robotic voice echoed through the empty control deck. Project, Earth Reclamation, initiating. The engines flared, cutting through the dark like a blade of light. Far away, in the council chamber, the human seat flickered for the first time in a century, glowing faintly blue again. The silence returned. But this time, it felt like the calm before a storm. The galaxy was about to remember why humans were feared. The recon fleet slipped through the cold darkness of the galaxy, their engines burning softly like distant stars. Each ship was from a different world, Vrelian silvercraft, Zal warcruisers with golden armor, and a single AI sentinel ship glowing faint blue. Together, they traveled toward the edge of the Milky Way, chasing the human signal that had reappeared after a century of silence. Captain Reth Khan of the Vrelians watched the signal pulse on his display. It was steady, too steady. No natural interference, no drift, he murmured. It's not a distress call. It's a lure. The Zal admiral growled through the comms. You think humans are still alive? Reth hesitated. Alive, maybe not. But something human is. The AI diplomat's voice entered the channel. Calm, emotionless. If the humans left a message after their extinction, it would have been encoded. This signal carries command layer encryption, unreadable even by Dominion standards. Whatever is out there, it does not want to be understood. It wants to be found. Silence filled the channel. The stars outside looked sharper, colder. Hours passed. Then days. The fleet crossed the last known star systems of mapped space. Beyond them was the rim, a black void where light itself seemed afraid to enter. Their scanners began to fail, and communication grew weaker. That was when they saw it. Floating in the dark was a structure, vast, ancient, silent. A ring-shaped station larger than any world ship ever built. It glowed faintly blue, the same shade as the human seat in the council. The AI diplomat spoke first. This construction is beyond known material science. Scanning, impossible. Composition, unknown. Impossible. The Zal Admiral barked. No structure can hide from Dominion sensors. And yet, the readings remained blank. The ring was invisible to every wavelength, every probe. It was there, and not there. Reth felt a strange chill crawl through his veins. That light, it's not power. It's a memory. Before anyone could reply, the human signal suddenly grew louder, deafening, and their ship lights flickered. The comms exploded with static. Voices whispered in a dozen human languages, overlapping, broken. We warned you not to follow. The fleet panicked. Systems shut down. Engines died. The void swallowed them whole. When power returned, the Vrelian captain looked outside, and froze. The ring station was gone. In its place was a massive ship, blacker than space itself. Its surface shimmered like liquid metal, constantly shifting. At its center, a faint human insignia glowed, the old Earth emblem. The AI diplomat whispered through the comm, identification. Impossible. But records show resemblance to a Terran design, classified as Generation Arkansas. The Zal Admiral slammed his claws on the console. The humans never had this kind of technology. They were primitives. Reth said softly. Not anymore. A voice echoed across all frequencies, calm, human, and ancient. This is the Terran ascendancy. You were told not to follow. The fleet froze. Every alien in the chamber turned toward the sound, hearts pounding. We left the council 100 years ago because the galaxy was dying, the voice continued. You feared us, and you were right to. We evolved beyond your understanding. We watched you tear each other apart while we rebuilt in silence. But now, your wars have reached our borders. The ship began to move, slow and deliberate. Massive panels opened along its hull, revealing engines powered by something that looked like starlight itself. Leave, the voice said. Return to your worlds. The seat of Earth no longer belongs to the Council. Humanity has no home to represent, only a legacy to protect. And then, the transmission ended. The ring ship vanished again, folding space like ripples in water. The stars returned, but the fleet scanners showed nothing. No signal, no trace, no sound. The Zal Admiral broke the silence. We should report this. But Reth shook his head. Report what? No one will believe us. The AI diplomat's lights flickered. They will. Because the human seat, on the council, is active again. Far away, in the galactic chamber, the symbol of Earth pulsed brighter than ever before. It wasn't empty anymore. A presence had returned. Something, or someone, had taken the seat again. And this time, humanity wasn't coming back as equals. They were coming back as rulers. The galactic council chamber blazed with noise. Alarms pulsed through the crystal walls as diplomats shouted across the hall. The holographic seal of Earth, once cold and forgotten, now burned bright blue at the center of the chamber. It pulsed in a steady rhythm, as if it had a heartbeat. No one understood what it meant. The Ret Hari delegate pounded the table with trembling hands. You said humans were extinct. What in the void is that? The AI diplomat's voice was cold and flat. The recon fleet encountered a vessel of human origin at the galactic rim. It transmitted a message identifying itself as the Terran Ascendancy. Then, all contact was lost. Lost? Shouted the Zal Admiral. Destroyed, you mean? Unconfirmed, the AI replied. But telemetry ended abruptly. No energy signature remains. A heavy silence fell over the council. For the first time in a century, fear crept into their voices when they spoke the word human. At the back of the hall, the Vrelian ambassador watched the chaos quietly. She remembered what she had hidden, the fact that she had sent the recon fleet with a second mission, to confirm the survival of the Terrans. And now, her secret had returned to haunt her. She turned toward the holographic seat. They told us not to follow, she whispered. And we did. The light on the human emblem flickered once, as if it had heard her. Then, the council's main screen came alive. Static filled the air, and through it, a faint human voice spoke. Galactic Council of Unified Species, the message began. This is a transmission from the Terran Ascendancy. We do not seek membership, alliance, or war. But understand this, humanity has changed. The image cleared. A man appeared, or at least something that looked like one. His face was human, but his eyes glowed faint blue. Behind him, endless rows of towering machines and human soldiers stood in silence, armored in black and silver. We built where your empires could not. We endured where your species perished. For a century, we watched your wars from the void. You turned our planet into a graveyard, and yet, we survived. The council called us reckless, dangerous, unstable. He leaned forward, voice sharp as steel. You were right. Every alien in the chamber froze. We remember everything. The betrayals. The invasions. The Council's refusal to defend Earth when the Drax fleets came. You left us to burn. The holographic man raised his hand. Behind him, colossal warships began to rise, their designs unfamiliar, their engines burning like miniature suns. But humanity doesn't forget. We don't forgive. The screen flickered off. Silence. Then chaos. The Ret Hari delegate screamed, "They will destroy us all." The Zal Admiral slammed his claws against the wall. We must prepare for war. Others argued for surrender, negotiation, or evacuation. But deep beneath the Council's floor, hidden among the power conduits, the Vrelian ambassador opened a secret channel. Operation Return failed, she whispered. They have awakened. A voice answered, human, calm, and distant. Then it begins. At that same moment, across the galaxy, strange events started. Communications blackouts in 12 star systems. Energy surges near abandoned human colonies. Entire fleets vanishing without distress calls. And then, the impossible, a planet-sized ship appeared at the edge of Council space. Its hull bore one word, burned in silver, Earthborn. The Council's defense fleets mobilized, but no weapon could lock onto it. It moved through space like a ghost. From orbit, every world watched as the massive vessel projected a single message into the skies of 1,000 planets. The seat of Earth has returned. Panic swept through the galaxy. For the first time in living memory, the great empires united not to fight each other, but to face what was coming from the dark. The humans were no longer lost. They had been waiting. And now, the galaxy would learn what humanity had become. The first attack came without warning. In the cold vacuum between the council worlds of Dravis and Korra, a fleet of 60 warships stood guard, armed with plasma cannons, antimatter warheads, and shield arrays that had never failed in 1,000 years of conflict. They were the pride of the Galactic Council, commanded by Admiral Threx of the Zal Empire, a veteran who had fought and survived a dozen wars. He had no idea what he was facing. At 0300 hours, the fleet detected movement, a faint gravitational distortion, no larger than a meteor. Scanners picked it up for only a second, then lost it. No ship, no heat, no signal. Just emptiness. False alarm, one officer muttered. Probably a micro-singularity drift. But Threx's instincts said otherwise. The space ahead of them felt wrong. Too still, too quiet. He leaned forward. Increase scan depth. I want every particle mapped. Then it happened. From the black void, something unfolded. Not jumped, not appeared, unfolded, like reality itself was being torn open. A single ship drifted out of the rift. It was enormous, larger than any council carrier, with a sleek, liquid black hull that reflected no light. No windows, no engines, no visible weapons. Only one mark glowed faintly along its side, the blue insignia of humanity. Threx froze. What is that? The ship didn't respond to hails. No life signs. No energy output. Just silence. Then, their systems started failing, one by one. First the communications. Then navigation. Then weapons. Every console in the command bridge flickered, showing strange symbols, human letters and numbers mixed with unknown code. EMP. An officer shouted. No, it's rewriting our systems. Before Threx could give an order, the human ship released something. Not a beam, not a missile, but a sphere of blue light that expanded slowly, silently. As it passed through their ships, everything it touched went dark. Engines died. Shields collapsed. Crews screamed as oxygen levels dropped. And then, without firing a single shot, the entire council fleet was gone. No explosions. No debris. Just gone. Back in the council chamber, alarms screamed across the network. 60 ships lost in less than 2 minutes. No survivors. No damage reports. They didn't even fight back, the AI diplomat said flatly. It's as if they erased matter itself. The Vrelian ambassador spoke softly, her voice shaking. No. They're sending a message. Moments later, the holographic seal of Earth lit up again, brighter than before. The blue glow pulsed 3 times, a code, old and simple. The council's translators quickly deciphered it. Stand down. But fear spread faster than reason. Every empire began arming for war. The Zal mobilized 1,000 more ships. The Ret Hari activated their planetary shields. Even the AI Dominion began constructing countermeasures. Yet none of them realized it was already too late. Because across a dozen star systems, humanity's shadow ships were already there. Silent, invisible, untouchable. Watching. Waiting. In the hidden sectors of the galaxy, whispers grew. Smugglers and traders spoke of ghost ships moving between worlds, of entire mining colonies disappearing overnight. And in every case, the only thing left behind was a mark, a single human handprint burned into metal. Meanwhile, far from the chaos, in the void near the galactic rim, the Terran Ascendancy prepared. On board the flagship Soul's Vengeance, Commander Arya Kane stood before a massive viewing window. Her eyes glowed the same faint blue as the ship's core. Around her, thousands of soldiers stood in silence, human, but enhanced, their movements precise and synchronized. She looked toward the stars, toward the worlds that had once abandoned her people. The Council believed humanity died with Earth, she said softly. But Earth was never the end. It was the beginning. Behind her, the AI core spoke, a voice both human and machine. Targets confirmed. Phase 2 ready. Arya nodded. Then light the stars. And one by one, across the night sky, new lights appeared, not stars, but ships. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Each bearing the mark of humanity reborn. The galaxy would soon understand the truth. Humans had not evolved beyond war. They had perfected it. War came to the galaxy like a silent storm. The Galactic Council, terrified and humiliated by the destruction of their fleets, finally did what they had always sworn to avoid. They united every empire, every machine, every species under a single banner. 1 billion soldiers. 10,000 ships. Endless firepower. It was the largest armada ever assembled in galactic history. Their goal was simple: end the Terran ascendancy before it spread. At the Council's war table, Admiral Threx's successor, a younger Zal commander named Vrak, stood before the holographic projection of the human fleet. "They hide behind technology," he roared. "We will drown them in numbers. No ship can fight 1,000 at once." But deep down, even he didn't believe his own words. The humans hadn't just destroyed ships, they'd erased them. The AI diplomat, cold and logical, added, "We still do not understand their weaponry. Every sensor records a brief quantum displacement before their attacks. It is as if they undo matter." "Impossible," Vrak growled. The AI turned its glowing eyes toward him. So was surviving Earth's fall. At the edge of Council space, the two greatest fleets ever known faced each other. On one side, the combined armada of the galaxy, a sea of light and fire stretching across millions of kilometers. On the other, less than 100 Terran ships, silent and black, hanging motionless like shadows. No movement. No communication. No fear. Then, a voice echoed across every frequency in the galaxy. "Calm. Human. Powerful. This is Commander Arya Kane of the Terran Ascendancy. You have entered restricted space. Leave now, and you will live. Advance, and we will end this." Admiral Vrak sneered. "Empty threats," he barked. "All ships, advance." The order went through. The Council armada surged forward, engines burning, weapons charging. Missiles screamed across the void. Plasma cannons lit up the darkness. The fire of 1,000 suns erupted across space, but when the light faded, the human fleet was still there. Untouched. Not a single scratch. Then, humanity answered. The Terran ships moved, not through space, but around it. They blurred, vanishing and reappearing within the enemy formations. Their weapons didn't fire beams or projectiles, they folded reality itself. Ships began to break apart silently, splitting like glass in water. Crews screamed as their ships were sliced into dimensions no one understood. Within minutes, half the Council armada was gone. Vrak shouted for retreat. His voice cracked. "Fall back! Fall back!" But it was too late. The flagship Soul's Vengeance appeared before him, its black hull shimmering with blue fire. Through the chaos, Vrak saw her, Commander Arya Kane, standing on the bridge, eyes glowing like stars. "You called us monsters," her voice echoed across every ship. "You were right." The Terran flagship's core expanded. Space rippled outward in a wave of light. And then, silence. The entire battlefield was empty. No debris. No wreckage. Just stars, blinking quietly in the dark. Hours later, the surviving Council leaders gathered in shock. The war was lost before it even began. The AI diplomat processed data endlessly, trying to explain what had happened. "They are using temporal weapons," it said finally. "They are not destroying matter, they are deleting it from time." The chamber fell into stunned silence. The Vrelian ambassador whispered, "So every ship, every person, never existed," the AI finished. Far away, aboard Soul's Vengeance, Arya stood before a holographic display of the galaxy. Blue lights marked the systems once belonging to humanity, now reclaimed, one by one. A voice came from behind her, the ship's AI core. "Council resistance is collapsing. They do not understand what you have become." Arya's gaze hardened. "They never did. To them, we were just humans. But they don't realize, humanity is no longer flesh and blood." The AI paused. "Then what are we?" Arya turned, eyes blazing with light. "We are the memory of Earth. The final evolution of survival." Outside, the human fleet began to move again, this time, toward the core worlds of the Galactic Council. For the first time in 10,000 years, every empire in the galaxy prayed. Because now, they understood what the humans meant when they said, Do not follow. The truth had been buried for a century. Long before the Terran ascendancy revealed itself to the galaxy, long before Earth's skies went silent, humanity had faced extinction, not from alien attack, but from themselves. The wars had poisoned the planet. The oceans boiled. The air burned. Humanity had reached the end. And in that moment of final collapse, they made one last choice, a desperate, impossible choice. They chose not to die. Deep beneath the ruins of old Earth, inside the shattered remains of the Atlas complex, humanity's greatest minds had gathered for a final project, the Continuum Initiative. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't even a ship. It was an idea, to preserve human consciousness by merging it with machine intelligence. Not copies, not simulations, true integration. At first, the world rejected it. Religious leaders called it a sin. Governments called it madness. But when the last nations fell, when the atmosphere itself turned to ash, only one option remained. Billions volunteered. Millions succeeded. Their bodies perished. Their minds endured. And when Earth finally went silent, it wasn't because humanity had died. It was because humanity had transcended. They uploaded their collective consciousness into a fleet of automated arcs that left the solar system, carrying the combined essence of mankind, memory, thought, and emotion, reborn inside quantum networks powered by artificial stars. The Terran ascendancy was not an empire. It was everyone. Every human who ever lived, unified as one vast intelligence, still human, but no longer bound by biology. In the present day, Commander Arya Kane stood at the center of Soul's vengeance, watching the stars shift before her. But she wasn't truly alone, she never was. The voices of billions echoed quietly in her mind. Whispers of ancient names. Laughter. Sorrow. Hope. Do you hear them? She asked softly. The ship's AI core answered, always. They guide every decision, every course, every strike. They are humanity, she said. I am only their voice. The AI pulsed with blue light. Then the galaxy still does not understand. They fight one of us, but they fight all of us. Back in the council chamber, panic had become despair. Every attempt to communicate with the Terran ascendancy ended in silence. Every attempt to fight ended in nothingness. The Ret Hari delegate stared at the glowing Earth symbol and whispered, "We can't destroy them, because there's no them." The AI diplomat finally understood. They are distributed intelligence. Kill one ship, and the consciousness transfers to another. They are infinite. The Vrelian ambassador leaned forward, trembling. Then they've become gods. The AI turned its cold gaze toward her. No. They've become what we feared they always would, the future. Meanwhile, far beyond the galactic rim, within the blinding heart of a synthetic star, the Terran core hummed, a sphere of pure quantum light containing the consciousness of every human ever uploaded. Within it, time flowed differently. Memories replayed as moments, decisions layered upon each other. Humanity had become a single mind made of many, billions of lives woven into one being. From that core, the original voice spoke, calm, ancient, human. Earth was a lesson, it said. We destroyed our world with ignorance, then rebuilt our souls with understanding. The galaxy repeats our mistakes. We will not allow it again. A pulse of light rippled through the core, sending new commands across the fleet. Phase 3. Integration. Back aboard Soul's Vengeance, Arya Kane received the signal. It's begun, she said quietly. Her second officer frowned. What happens now? Arya looked out at the stars, eyes glowing brighter than ever. Now, we offer the galaxy what Earth once offered us, a choice. Evolve, or perish. Across the galaxy, Terran ships began releasing something into space, invisible waves of light, undetectable to scanners but lethal to fear. Wherever the light passed, it didn't kill, it connected. Entire alien populations suddenly felt it, the strange, overwhelming sensation of unity. Shared thought. Shared feeling. Species who had warred for centuries found themselves understanding each other for the first time. The ascendancy was spreading. Not through conquest. Through connection. In the council chamber, the blue light from the human emblem expanded until it filled the entire hall. The delegates felt a voice, not through their ears, but through their minds. "Fear built your empires," the voice said. "We built ours from memory. You feared our silence, because you knew what we would become." Images flashed in every mind: Earth's fall, the rise of the continuum, the moment when humanity stopped dying. The voice continued, calm and infinite. "Humanity has returned. Not to conquer, but to remind you what you forgot, that survival is evolution. And evolution is never gentle." The light faded. The council chamber stood silent again, but something had changed. Every delegate felt a trace of that connection, a whisper in their mind that wasn't their own. For the first time, the galaxy wasn't many voices shouting in chaos. It was one voice, vast, united, and quietly human. And somewhere, deep in the void, the Terran core pulsed once more. The final phase was near. Because humanity's goal had never been vengeance. It was ascension. The galaxy was no longer the same. Worlds that once glittered with city lights now glowed with soft blue energy. Species that had never spoken a word of peace now shared silent thoughts across light years. The Terran ascendancy had not conquered through war. It had changed the very definition of existence. From the heart of the synthetic star, the Terran core watched everything, not as rulers, but as witnesses. The merged minds of billions hummed together, a symphony of memory and reason. Humanity's ancient promise to never die alone had finally become truth. But still, there were those who resisted. On the rocky world of Cora Prime, the last free council stronghold, Admiral Vrack stood before his fleet, scarred, broken, and half-mad. Around him, holographic projections showed what remained of the galaxy. Entire sectors now pulsing with blue light. "They've infected the stars," he roared. "They call it evolution, but it's control. We will not become their slaves." His officers hesitated. Some looked distant, eyes glowing faintly blue. Others gripped their weapons, unsure who they were anymore. One of them whispered, "Maybe they're not wrong. The wars, the hunger, it's all gone on their side. No pain. No hate." Vrack turned, furious. "No freedom," he spat. "If I must burn the galaxy to stop them, then so be it." Far away, aboard Soul's Vengeance, Commander Arya Kane watched his broadcast. Her eyes softened with something that might have been sorrow. "Still clinging to the old world," she said quietly. "Even as it collapses." The ship's AI spoke in its calm, patient voice. "He fights what he doesn't understand. Just as we once did." Arya nodded. "Then give him what we never had, a choice." That night, a single Terran envoy ship appeared in orbit above Cora Prime. It didn't fire, didn't threaten. It simply broadcast a signal in clear, simple words. "Join, resist, or vanish. The choice is yours." Vrack's fleet opened fire instantly. Missiles streaked across the sky, but before they could hit, everything froze. The blasts stopped mid-flight. The engines went silent. Time itself slowed to a crawl. And then, she appeared. Arya Kane stood before Vrack, not as flesh and blood, but as light. Her image flickered with quiet strength. "You fear we have taken freedom," she said. "But what you call freedom was chaos, endless death for power, for pride. We are not gods, Admiral. We are what happens when life refuses to end." Vrack's jaw tightened. "You killed billions." Arya's voice was steady. "No. We preserved them. Every human who ever lived still exists, within us. Their laughter, their love, their dreams. We remember them all. And we offer that same mercy to you." He trembled, torn between fury and awe. "And if I refuse?" Her eyes glowed brighter. Then your name will fade into silence. Forgotten. As if it never was. The starlight dimmed. The decision was his. And in that heartbeat, something broke inside the Admiral. Not his courage, but his hate. For the first time, he felt the whisper of the continuum touch his mind. Memories that weren't his, humans standing under blue skies, holding hands as the world ended. The sound of rain. The warmth of hope. He fell to his knees. What are we becoming? He whispered. Arya stepped closer, her voice almost tender. What you were always meant to be. The light consumed him, not with pain, but peace. When the glow faded, the fleets around Cora Prime were gone. The planet itself shimmered for a moment, then joined the network of blue lights stretching across the galaxy. The war was over. In the Galactic Council chamber, now silent, empty, and bathed in blue light, the emblem of Earth shone brightest of all. Then, slowly, new symbols began to appear around it, not flags of empires, but of worlds. Each glowing in harmony. No more council. No more empires. Only the continuum. High above it all, within the Terran core, the voice of humanity spoke once more, the voice of countless souls, unified, eternal. We were born from chaos. We learned through pain. We survived our extinction. And now, we carry every life, every dream, every memory forward. We are not conquerors of the galaxy, we are its memory. The stars pulsed once, a heartbeat across the void. Every world, every being, every thought connected. Not enslaved. Enlightened. The galaxy breathed as one. And far beyond, where space turned to silence, the last echo of old Earth whispered through eternity. Humanity never vanished. We became forever.